Is the Thousand Trails membership the biggest hack in RVing? Or is it just a cleverly disguised scam to drain your wallet? Well, I wanted the real story. So did my dad. And we decided to go a couple of years ago, probably about maybe 13, 14 years ago, to find out. And in this video, we're going to pull back the curtain on everything that we found out. The hidden cost, what the campgrounds are really like, and the truth about their wonderful, and I mean that in every sarcastic sense of the word, wonderful customer service. Yeah. By the end of this, you'll know for sure whether Thousand Trails is a brilliant move or a huge, god-awful mistake for you. Right here on Hangin with the Hazes. So let's take a minute and talk money, the sales pitch, right? Promises versus the reality of what they offer. Now, I got to be upfront with you. As a salesperson, the sales pitch is amazing, right? For over 50 years, Thousand Trails has been selling the dream. A network of 80 campgrounds you can access for one upfront cost. And they're absolutely correct about that. That part's not a lie by any means. Think about it. Camping with full hookups and $0 a night sounds like the ultimate cheat code for RV life, right? A way to slash your budget and travel wherever it is you want to go. And it's a tempting offer. Thousands upon thousands of RVers sign up for this every single year, especially at the RV shows. But then you log on to any RVing Facebook group and you see a completely different story. You see the words like scam, timeshare, and worse thrown around, okay? There are endless online complaints, and the Better Business Bureau has filed, ready for this, 158 of them in just the last few years. So what gives? How can this company be a budget saver for some and a total money pit for others? So we decided to find out ourselves. Okay. Now, I didn't. My dad bought a membership, hit the road, and documented everything to separate the slick marketing from the cold, hard reality. Now, let me just start off by saying he did this against everything that I said. But if you know anything about my dad, you'll understand. So, the cost breakdown. What are you really paying for? All right, so let's talk money. Money, because this is where things get rather confusing, okay? Thousand Trails isn't just one thing. So when you look at the Thousand Trails membership, it is a complicated step ladder of memberships, notice the S on the end, with its own individual price, rules, and perks. So we're doing something here. And at the very bottom of this zone pass for around $755 a year, and I don't know if that's accurate, but we're going to use that number because that's the last one I remember. And I'm old. I forget a lot. You get to camp in one of 5 zones across the United States. And I'm going to put the zones right here so you'll see what they are. Okay. This lets you stay up to 14 nights, but then you have to be out of all Thousand Trails parks for a full week, which means now after 14 nights, you got to pack up, go somewhere else. And it could be a state park, national park, local park, private campground, KOA, whatever. You cannot be in the Thousand Trails network for that week. Okay. It's a taste of the system, but it is pretty limited. So let's talk a little bit farther. From there, you climb into the upgraded membership for those of y'all who got a couple dollars, which are now sold in 2 or 4 year contracts instead of the old lifetime deals. All right. Pay attention, because this is where it starts to get interesting. And then there are the big ones. A Journey membership, which runs about $4,000 for 2 years. The Explore membership, which will cost you about $6,000 for 2 years. And the top dog, all right, the Adventure membership can set you back a cool $8 $100,000 for 2 years, or even more for 4. And they offer financing, of course, to soften the blow of that big price tag. So these upgrades are what most full-timers look at. In case you don't know, I full-time RV. So this would be something I might want to look at, okay? They let you stay longer, up to 21 nights, and you can hop directly from one park to another with no timeout. So the more dough you put up, the better the perk is. Crucially, they also give you a much longer booking window. See how this starts to get into an intricate, twisted web? Okay. From 120 to 180 days out, which you're going to absolutely need to get into a lot of the quote popular parks. Okay. So you can also tack on the Trails collection for about $450 a year, which adds another 100 or so Encore RV parks to your option. So the grand question, everybody's standing right here now listening to me ramble on to want to know, is it worth it? If you camp 100 nights a year with basic upgrades, your nightly cost could be less than $20 a day, when the average campground is charging $50 or more. Okay, that's a fantastic deal on paper. The math can look fantastic, but as Daddy quickly found out, I can't even say we, as he found out, the math don't always tell the whole story. The good, when it works, it's great. Look, Crazy Keon is fair, okay? And we got to be fair with this. When Thousand Trail system works, it really works. For flexible full-time RVers who are good at planning, the savings are real, okay? And that's where you see all of these people talking about how much of a money saver it is. We've met several members who have saved thousands upon thousands of dollars over the years, and they've mastered the booking system. They know which parks are the good ones. They've built their entire travel lifestyle around this. For them, it has paid for itself many, many times over. Now, the entry-level Zone Pass plus the Trails collection costs just over $1,200, and it gives you access to almost 200 parks. Now, that's an incredible value on paper. Now, in places like Florida, Arizona, and the West Coast, where the parks are so concentrated, you can bounce to all of these parks throughout the winter, all winter long, soaking up the sun for a tiny fraction of what it would cost you in a normal situation. Financial savings are the number one reason, I should say, people join, okay? And for a certain RVer, it absolutely delivers. All right, so that's the thing. Now, again, you came here to hear the bad. And here's where the cracks start to show a little bit. Daddy's journey quickly showed us why everybody is so divided in this Thousand Trails thing. The biggest problem with Thousand Trails is the insane, big letters. Keon, just remember, put this in big letters. Insanely inconsistency in campground quality. The word resort gets thrown around very, very loosely in the Thousand Trails world, okay? While few parks are genuinely lovely, with great sights and amenities, others are just plain neglected, okay? We stayed in parks that felt more like rundown mobile home parks, okay, than vacation spots. We're talking about broken electrical hookups, muddy pits that they call spaces instead of gravel pads, clubhouses that haven't seen a paint job since Michael Jackson brought out Thriller in the 80s. A common theme is the dreaded go find the spot policy. You check in and they just kind of like, come on in. Telling you to drive around until you find something open. And this turns into a stressful scavenger hunt, which is the last thing you want to do after 13 hours of driving. One park in Michigan, I'll never forget this. One park in Michigan, I can't remember the name of it. The mini golf course was so swallowed by weeds, and the buildings were so caked in mold, I couldn't believe it. At another in Florida, I can't remember where in Florida it was either. Remember, I'm old. I'm over 40. The drainage was so bad that in a single rainstorm, half the park was sitting in a few inches of not regular water. We talking about that gator swampy water. Staffing is a roll of the dice. You just never know what you're going to get. Sometimes they're amazing. Other times they're either totally absent or they just couldn't care less. This inconsistency makes everything that you book with Thousand Trails a gamble. Okay. You might get a beautiful sight on the water, or you could end up crammed up in a tiny unlevel mud patch next to a permanent residence junkyard. So here's the ugly. And this is why people call it a scam. This is where things go from just bad to feeling like you've been straight ripped off. Okay. The biggest frustration, hands down, when it comes to Thousand Trails is the booking system. Members complain consistently, constantly. I'm just trying to think of all of the words I can use. That getting a spot in a nice park during a popular season is next to impossible. Even with the best 180-day booking window, the sites are gone the seconds that they open up. With a zone pass, you can only book out 60 days, which means you that have a zone pass are pretty much guaranteed to be locked out of the best places in the winter and the summer. Then there's the customer service. On my own calls to them, trying to get stuff for daddy, there were, let's just say it was an exercise in pure frustration. We dealt with crazy long hold times and a callback system that, well, let's just say doesn't always call back. All right. We finally got a human on the phone. They often seem powerless to help with real issues. The online reviews say all the same thing. Staff who are condescending and a total failure to solve billing or booking problems. But the ugliest part, and this is what earns Thousand Trails that dreaded timeshare label, is how hard it is to get out of your contract once you get in it. So the internet is filled with horror stories from people who tried to cancel because of health crisis or job loss, right? Only to be told they're locked in. They can't get out. They have to keep paying for something that they, God honestly, can't even use. And if you try to sell your membership, truth is you're only going to get pennies on the dollar for what you paid, and then you'll get hit with that huge, guess what? Transfer fee. Yeah. This is the heart of the scam feeling. And once they have your money, you're stuck, whether they deliver on their promises or not. So we put these complaints to the test ourselves. Let me say that again. He put those complaints to the test, not me, right? So Pop tried to book a spot in the Florida Keys. And the second our booking window opened 6 months in advance. So literally at 12:01. It was right at 12:01. I'll never forget it. No luck. Already full. We tried to book a simple summer weekend near a national park 60 days out when he had the original zone passed. Again, completely booked. The system clearly favors those who have paid for the most expensive memberships, leaving everyone else to fight for the scraps. Now, I get that. Y'all out there that got $8,000 to drop because you got a $900,000 motorhome. But you know what? You put your pants on just like everybody else, and you eat dirt and do the chicken just like everybody else. People who spend their money should have an opportunity to use their product. So I gave up at that point. Dad decided to go out to the Pacific Coast, and he stayed at a park in the Pacific Northwest where they advertised Wi-Fi. So let's just say this. The Wi-Fi was a myth, unless you were sitting inside the lodge. and they closed the pool for the season like 5 weeks early. Okay. On the flip side, we did stay at a really gorgeous Encore resort. I'm going to say it was a trip to Arizona. And at that time, Pop had the Trails Collection add-on. And it was clean. I liked it. Beautiful, fantastic experience. Okay. But the contrast was jarring. It proves to you that you can't judge the whole system by one bad part, but you can't trust the marketing that promises any kind of consistent quality either. So for anybody that is of reasonable intelligence, that's a problem. So what's the verdict? Let me help you out with that. Who is Thousand Trails really for? Thousand Trails. All right, let me just sum it up like this. So after a year of Dad being on the road, we had to answer this question: is Thousand Trails a scam? Legally, no. It's really not. You pay money, you get access to campgrounds, but you know, for a lot of people, it's a huge gap between the sunny sales pitch that you get and the frustrating reality that it does feel like a deception. And the truth really is, the value of a Thousand Trails membership depends entirely on you. And if I can say this and just kind of step off script a little bit, it depends on how much money you got in your pocket. Okay, how much you're willing to spend. So Thousand Trails is probably a great fit if you are full-timing who travel off-season. You are super flexible where you go and when. A serious planner who has no problem booking a campsite 180 days out. If you're not fussy about amenities and can handle a rundown park, even if it means saving big money, y'all know I'm bougie. That ain't gonna happen. Not with these people I care with. No. You should stay in. I'm struggling with saying this, but I'm gonna say it. You should stay away from Thousand Trails if you are a weekend camper, like a weekend warrior or a vacationer who has traveled or has to travel on holidays and during the summer. Not for you. If you need your campground to have a predictable, consistent level of quality, Thousand Trails ain't for you. You're spontaneous or a spontaneous family that hates planning 6 months out, a year out. Not for you. If you have zero patience for glitchy websites and frustrating conversation, I'm sorry, let me rephrase it. If you have zero patience for stupidity and frustration for stupid, inadequate customer service, that's what I really want to say. Thousand Trails ain't right for you. The best for you, check out my other video on the reasons why I stay at KOA. And then part 2, the reason why I love the KOA app, solves all of this problem. Is it more money? Yes. Is it more geared for the person that's not a full-timer? Yes. But even if you are a full-timer, you can still find some value with that. But look, let me just be straight. Thousand Trails is not a golden ticket for cheap travel. It's just not. It's a tool, just like anything else. And it only works if the tool is right for you. You cannot use a hex bit screwdriver in a slotted screw. It's just not going to work. The biggest piece of advice I can give you, if you decide to take one of those wonderful deals at Thousand Trails, at the Hershey RV show or the Tampa RV show or anybody's RV show, the biggest piece of advice I can give you is start small. Try a zone pass for a year before you even think about dropping thousands of dollars on an upgrade, okay? See if you can make the system work. We really want to hear from you. Like, I want to hear from you. Like, I will do a raffle. If I get 100 comments, I'm going to pick 5 out of the bunch randomly. And I will send you via email, as long as I can get in touch with you, a $5 gift card to Dunkin' Donuts. That's how much I want to hear you, okay? I want to hear your stories. Are you a happy member? Do you have a horror story to share? Let us know in the comments below. We read every single one. And if this video helped you, consider subscribing for more honest RV content just like this. So, yeah, here's the real truth about Thousand Trails. It's a deeply flawed system that can offer an incredible value, but to only a certain kind of RVer. There's a prejudice with it. It requires patience, a lot of flexibility, and a willingness to put up with some serious problems in exchange for saving a couple dollars. It can be a powerful tool in your travel arsenal, but it can be a very expensive lesson. Do your homework, people. Understand exactly what you're getting into and know your own travel style before you put your Hancock on the dotted line. I'm Crazy Keon, and if you haven't figured it out, I'm good and crazy. And guess what? You're hanging with the Hazes. Camp safe out there. We'll see you next time.